Okay, so I know this isn't optimal, but it's optimal as what I'm about to talk about and remind you. So I'm reading The Millionaire Moses, which is about how Moses was a millionaire in the Bible, and it's by Catherine Ponder. She's talking about opulence and how you can apply it to every part of your life, to relationships. One woman in a married relationship, her husband came to her and said, I want a divorce. Not wanting a divorce and knowing what she learned from Catherine Ponder, she said, let's think about it. Let's go on about our lives for the next 3 months and talk about it again. And if you still feel this way, we'll get a divorce. He said, okay, willingly, okay. And she decided that this was not going to happen, that this is not her life. So she went on as if normally, doing things happily. She started playing tennis and another sport. She started cooking and fixing herself up a little bit more, taking care of her appearance, learning new recipes. She really put in the effort to, she was acting as if she had a great marriage, and she really wanted to put the time and effort into that, into improving it, and to being the best person she could be, the best wife that she could be. And in the story, Catherine states that the husband starts coming home more, and she doesn't really pay attention to it. She just, hello, she's making dinner. She's acting as if everything is fine. She's doing what's best for her. She's making herself feel good while also being a good wife. And then the 3 months comes around, and they're sitting at the fire. He's reading a book. And that seems to be becoming a normal again. And she brought it up. The wife said, so we need to talk about this 3-month divorce thing. And the husband said, who wants to get divorced? And at that, it was dropped. And they lived happily ever after. The next, she goes to the opulence of health. And she's talking about a woman who keeps putting off her wanting to garden. She said, I have arthritis. My hands really hurt. So I will get back into the garden when God heals my hands. And I will get back to writing professionally, or writing at all, because she loves to write, when God heals my hands and helps me feel better. I know God will do it. Well, she goes on and goes on, waiting for God to heal her, and nothing happens. And then she finally says, well, what else can I do but go pull some weeds? Even though it's painful, and she mentions it was painful, it hurt, but I knew that getting out and actually pulling weeds, which I do enjoy, would somehow help. Like, I would be healed. If I'm doing the work, if I'm meeting God halfway, if I'm meeting the divine halfway, then my needs are going to be met. And she started writing. She would go in and she would write an article about vegetables or something. And she got back into the habit of doing this. And she said there was pain for a little while. And then the pain started to subside. And she realized she was doing exactly what she wanted to do, which was she was back into gardening. She was back into having a normal writing schedule, and the arthritis was gone. She was focusing on having the life that she desired and actually doing it, and knowing that the divine spirit of it all is going to meet you. Like, there is, and what it says is, God would help her now that she made a start toward normal living again. As she purposely worked in the flower garden daily, she began to feel better. Gradually, the pain subsided. Her writing and housework took on a normal perspective. Finally, she was leading a normal, productive life again. But nothing had improved until she made a start toward it. So, and that goes with the living as if. You get into the motions of it's already done. It's already happening. So I'm just going to take the actions. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to do the best I can with what I have. And I specifically think that that's what she says. It pays to fix up the barren spots in your life. Live as normally as possible when faced with abnormal conditions. Do the best you can with what you have. This opens the way to opulence. Opulent health, opulent relationships, opulent finances, whatever it is. Do the best with what you have. It says live as normally as possible when faced with abnormal conditions. To help make a start, declare often. I begin now to talk plenty, think plenty, and give thanks for plenty. I use what I have with wisdom. I make the best of my present situation. God will help me as I make a start. Opulence is my divine right, and I claim it in every phase of my world. I dare to fix up my wilderness now. And wilderness, she's referring to when the Hebrews were in the wilderness for 40 years, I believe. This has been really fun, and going back and reading about the Bible and how symbolic it was, because growing up, it was really hard for me in stages, because it was such a doctrine, and like you're gonna burn in hell, if you do something wrong. And I found myself crying and being literally shaking in bed at night, like so scared that I was gonna be struck by lightning by these videos and things that I'd seen, that it traumatized me on a certain level that I'm revisiting it now. And always I've held like the divine in my heart. I know that there's this grand love, this beautiful, whatever's in the ethers is kind and giving and opulent. And I know that when I am in service and am giving of myself in the kindest way, from a loving part, when I'm really in my heart, everything just flows. And literally whatever I ask for comes about. But it's all about being in the divine flow. And Jay Shetty mentions that. He's like, the universe is always in service. So when you find yourself in service, it like compounds the giving. Because when we're just like, I want this, I need this, I want this, I need this, they're like, well, the universe, the divine is like, well, I want this, I need this, I want this, I need this from you. And then you can get caught in this cycle. Speaking for myself, but if I like get into the moment, really center myself, and I'm like, wait, how can I be of service? What is my love, my passion? I really love to talk to people. I really love to listen to people. And then when they ask me for advice, to give my heartfelt advice, because I feel in the flow of that divine abundance when that happens. And it's really magical. So here I am, and I wanted to share this with you because I'm sitting at soccer practice and I really wanted to read this book because it's so good. It excites me. It's like, it wakes me up again, even though these are things that I know. To be reminded of them, to reawaken my spirit to them, is so wonderful. It's refreshing on every level. And I really want to share that. And plus I'm fasting right now. I'm doing OMAD, and it kind of gets me in a like I feel really great sometimes, and then I kind of get moody. Like if something goes, like I just ran to have to get a different size of cleats, and it just I have to really center myself and be like, oh, wait, I'm a human being, having a human experience. And this traffic, this situation, whatever's going on in my life is all meant for the highest good. And it was. Like, my daughter had been looking for these certain cleats, and I said, well, you can get these. And we drove really far to get these cleats, and looking at all these different stores around here, and they didn't have her size. And all they had was this pink pair that I think is really cute, but she didn't. That was not her thing. And I'm like, okay, all right. And today I go back, I go to get the cleats back to the store. They didn't have her size. So I get her a half size too big, and I swear there's a point to this. And she gets home, I pick her up, and she tries them on, and they're too big. They're rubbing the back of her, and I'm like, that's not gonna work. We're gonna have to get the pink ones. I'm really sorry. Well, we come out here, we travel, it's 20 minutes to her soccer practice. It's an indoor field, so there's not a lot of them. And a different part of town where I didn't even realize there was another Academy Sports and Outdoors, which is a chain. And anyways, so for practice, I have to leave, drop her off, leave, go get the shoes, the cleats in an unknown area, and come back. But guess what? They had her size, the half size, at the store. So, and when I walked inside, and I can always tell I'm in alignment when, like, I continuously encounter really, really nice people, and like they look me in the eye, and eyes, I got two eyes, y'all. And it was like, oh, okay. But even though, like, as I'm walking through the door, I'm handing my bag, I'm like, I need to even exchange. And they're like, okay, just come back up at the front. I go, and I'm like, what if they don't have them? What if my poor girl, she didn't want to have pink shoes, even though they're so cute. And she's not poor. I need to change that. She's my sweet girl. She's my wonderful, loving, kind, amazing, magical, super cool girl that is just amazing. She just manifested she's 11, and I've been teaching her manifesting. She manifested getting into her school, which is this really great charter school and for all girls, and she's really excited and all these things. So moral of the story is I had to go through all these hoops, but I got her the right size in the shoe that she wanted in a way that felt uncomfortable. But I was determined that she have the right size shoe. I'm like, you're gonna have the right size. I know you really like this. And anyways, it unfolded in that manner. So simple. Most people would be like, of course, but it doesn't always happen that way. Some people I could have just been in a bad mood and been like, I haven't eaten in 24 hours. You're just wearing those shoes, and I'm like, that's not me. I'm like, no, you can't wear those. They'll hurt. You'll be wearing Band-Aids. But anyways, so the next part is how good can arrive 10 times quicker. And it says, Moses pointed out the tithing law of opulence to the Hebrews while they were still in the wilderness, and they never questioned his instructions, which had been given to him by Jehovah right out of the ethers. I love it that she said ethers. And they tithed, they prospered accordingly. Moses had earlier learned the universal practice of tithing in the temples of Egypt because he was adopted by the billionaires, King Pharaoh. I'm still learning. So the Hebrews were instructed to give all of the tithe of the land, seed, fruit, grain, wine, oil, the firstlings of the flock, whatever passeth. Okay, I'm just gonna stop there because this is I'm at 15 minutes. Should I keep going? I don't ever want to make like too long of videos because I feel but I've started it. Let's just go. This is good. So whatever path is under the rod. So he makes a claim earlier in the passage where he's saying, raising your rod brings blessings, lowering the rod brings curses. And the rod symbolizes your words. So when you raise your words, like I changed my words because it's such a habit, especially here in Texas, to be like, oh, poor thing. Oh, you know, like it's just a thing. I love bless your heart. Bless you. I love that one. That's great. But I have to be mindful, or I want to be mindful of what I'm saying. Because I know plenty of people who make a really great living. They have wealth and they still say this, but I don't want to. I don't want to. So changing your words, raising your one. So it means raising your words. You bring blessings upon other people, right? Because if I'm saying it about her, which tells my mind, my conscious mind, my subconscious mind, I got to really take care of her. And in that kind of thinking, I could cause codependency. And as a single mom, I don't want to do that, you know, like it's already, anyways, that's a whole nother story. But, so I want to empower her, make her strong and feminine, not being too strong because of the male aspect. Her dad's not around, so she doesn't know her father. So there's a balance I have to keep, and I want to empower her, right? We want to empower the people around us by speaking, uplifting our words about them and uplifting our thoughts about them, that they're strong, they're smart, they're brilliant, they can do it, they're going to figure it out, they succeed, they prosper. And so yes, so the Hebrews were instructed to give all the tithe of the land, whatever path is under the rod, the 10th shall be holy unto Jehovah. Deuteronomy 14:22-23. He also reminded them that when they later entered their abundant promised land, the way to remain prosperous would be by continuing to tithe. So it's giving. And I learned this from Angels with Fran. And if y'all don't know who that is, look her up because she's brilliant. I think it's Angels with Fran 444 is her YouTube handle. She's just incredible woman. So look her up because she knows this frontwards, backwards, side to side, all the way around the world and then some. So, okay. He was reminded that they were later entered into the abundant promised land. The way to remain prosperous would be by continuing to tithe. And it's 10%, right? Because he said by the 10. They were instructed not to take their blessings for granted once they had obtained them. And what Angels with Fran, she says, is like, she gets asked the question, do you tithe the homeless? Do you tithe, like, who do you tithe to? And she said, you need to tithe to people who spiritually feed you. So, like, I will tithe to her because she spiritually feeds me. And in the past, I would always tithe to homeless and people in need and dog shelters and things like that. And it's a different vibrational energy. You're wanting someone like that's praying with you, that is lifting you up, that is raising their rod, raising their words for you and with you, right? So it says people may be prospered without tithing, but it is hard work. And that's another thing. Like, you can, of course, you can prosper in any way, but I hear a lot of stories of people who would lose it or something would happen and they're like, I don't know what happened. It's like, you're not spiritually giving of yourself of the material gain, of that love, that part of you. You don't want to, hoarding everything is like a, that's a whole energy in itself, right? It's a scared energy. It's there's all kinds of words that go with that. So people may be prospered without tithing, but it's hard work. That is the trial and error method. The word tithe means tenth. So there's the tenth. Tithing brings success to you 10 times easier and 10 times quicker. When you take God as your financial partner, you are bound to prosper. Psychologically and spiritually, you expect it. And that's so true, because it's like, I believe in this person. I believe in this institution. They raise me up. I'm tithing to them in gratitude. And your blessings come back 10 times faster and 10 times more, because it's from the heart. And we all know it's when we're in our heart energy that things really get moving. I mean, that is the divine right there. That is God, is heart energy. It is straight, pure love, honey to the soul. So the idea of material prosperity as the reward for faithfulness is common to the Old Testament. Moses commanded obedience to the inner and outer laws he laid down, as assuring the Hebrews that every blessing would come to Israel: prosperity, health, protection, and guidance. Should the Hebrews forget God as the giver of all? And that's, you go to God. It's like, you don't have to know where it's going to come from. You just say, God, I know you got this. God makes a way. God always makes a way. The universe always makes a way. They would perish. Okay, so if you forget God as the giver of all, they would perish. So if the Hebrews were faithful, there would be, sorry, I don't have my glasses and it's dark. Loyalty to God would bring inevitable prosperity. All manner of bountifulness would be theirs. All manner of bountifulness would be theirs. His promises have stood the test of time over the centuries. That's the truth. And I just know from my own life, those who look to God for guidance and supply experience inevitable prosperity and all manner of bountifulness. Those who do not experience all manner of problems. Anyways, the most important sentence, or one of them: those who look to God for guidance and supply experience inevitable prosperity in all measures, all manners of prosperity and bountifulness. So if you look at God as the universal energy, as the universe, as the divine abundance, the ethers, the magic that's between us, the energy, if you're giving from the heart, all things are prospered unto you, because what we give, we get back. If we're energy, which we are, and we're consistently recycling our energy, the more good we do in the world, the better we feel. And the better we feel, the more our vibration raises, and the more good we vacuum to us. Because we're kind of like, I guess it's kind of like a black hole. I don't know, somebody gets some sciencey up in here, but you know what I'm saying. If we're constantly recycling, because it's like an energy tunnel that's constantly giving to its, going round and round. So there's a flow, which causes a magnetic field. You are attracting what you are giving out, and you are repelling what you're not. Do you understand what I'm saying? I hope I'm putting that in a simple terms. So giving from our heart makes us feel better. and we start to feel better. Therefore, we attract better, and we speak better, we move better, and then we focus our attention on better things, better life. And it's only what happens is, and I'm going to speak for myself. In the past, I would go back into like traumatic thinking of something happened to me when I was a kid, or like a caretaker, somebody would tell me something, and I would revert back to that untruth. But my childhood mind would say, no, that was true. It had to be true, right? They're seeing me. But people really are, like, when we look at someone, we're seeing ourselves. We see parts of ourselves, and they reflect pieces of ourselves. And that's why sometimes we can be triggered by some people, because they're reflecting something that we don't want, and we get repelled by it. Like, we're just like, no, absolutely not. But all you have to do is stay in the higher vibration, and that person will leave, or that thing, that situation. Focus on the better, act from a higher place that makes you feel better, and everything naturally gets better. Okay, I'm going to leave it there, because I've been talking to y'all for a while, and I love y'all, and I hope you're doing good, and thanks for being here with me on my dash and steering wheel, because it means a lot to me. I'll talk to you later. Bye.